All right. Well, welcome to another episode of the Average Pastor Podcast. I'm Mark, here with my pastor friends, Jake and Jeff, and we're in the Dodge living room. For those of you watching, you saw that. I had this funny conversation with my sister. She's like, yeah, Mom told me. She's like, yeah. She was talking to my brother and like, yeah, I've been listening to the podcast too. And my mom said, oh, yeah, I've been watching it. And they're like, what are you talking about? Watching it? You don't watch a podcast. And she's like, no, I think I have. Are we talking about the same thing? And they had no idea that this was filmed and that you can watch it. James, you can watch it on Spotify.
Yeah, when you play it on Spotify, it plays automatically the video, but it's also on YouTube. I mean, that'd be the other place to watch. So
okay,
just search Average Pastor on YouTube.
So
it'll pull up.
I wonder how that goes, even with other podcasts that have both mediums. I'm assuming the vast majority of the audience is still just audio, right?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yeah, the majority is listening, but it's growing quite a bit. I mean, even over the course of our podcast, you could see more people are watching. I don't know how they can tell that, because when you play a Spotify podcast, the video automatically rolls. So I don't know, but
spikes our numbers.
Yeah. Video definitely is becoming a huge thing.
But anyway, I wonder, like on other ones, whether it's the big, huge ones like Joe Rogan or something or whatever, like, I would still imagine that far more people still listen, maybe on their commutes or whatever, than watch. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think still most people just listen, have it on in the background.
Do you watch podcasts? Because I'm like doing something while I'm listening. I can't.
Yeah, I bet I could count on one hand the times I've watched a podcast instead of just listened.
I'll watch if I'm. A lot of times I'll do a podcast while I'm doing dishes or something. I'm always doing dishes. That's my whole life. I wish someone would have told me, like you're going to be a dad, and basically here's what it's like. It's like you're running a camp. You're just
here's
pretty
what
much
you do, Mark. This
you're
is
the
what
janitor.
For me. Early on, maybe you're too far into the game, but I broke a few dishes. I don't do dishes anymore.
No, if that were the standard, Teresa would have stopped doing dishes or any kitchen work long ago. I could count the number of breakages
by
far, I break the most dishes in my family.
You can't break the dishes that your wife would be like, oh, that's no problem. You got to strategically pick. You're playing the long game.
Yeah.
I guess like she's going to be upset for a while at this dish. It's going to pay off in the long run.
Right. That's great. Jake, and we did have this whole discussion before about, I'm trying to recreate the text thread going into our podcast today. We're talking about turning this into a food show. How did we get?
We said we were gonna record in the kitchen because
Chris,
Chris, because it was at that idea there that we've recorded in every spot of your house.
Maybe to go to the
fire
kitchen.
porch, the office.
Yeah, we always want to do the fire porch. The fire porch is always option A. Standard. But today, temperatures in the single digits.
Yeah.
So
those of us sitting right by the fire would have been fine. The other ones.
So then it becomes, where do we do it? The study, the living room. We moved into this room, and so we got to knock out every room in the house.
We got to then we could do it in the kitchen, and that's when Jake you offer it should be someone said
show.
James
I said we should do a cooking show. I think that'd be great to do an Average Pastor cooking episode.
Would be good.
But then Jake,
I thought we should do an eating show. I think we should review. We should,
and then you turn it into then it's an eating show, and then what do we do on the eating show? We go to
hit up some local spots and eat and give our thoughts on the food. Like,
dude, we could start in your mug. I gave the Hamburg Inn mug for your tea. Start at the Hamburg Inn. That's where all the presidential candidates go. Why not?
It's kind of an iconic spot here in Iowa City.
Yeah.
But Jake, you were saying maybe just find all the most average restaurants and,
what's the most average restaurant in Iowa City?
Yeah. So
we're average pastors. I feel like I have an above average appetite. So I might be disqualified from this podcast if we start reviewing food.
So we're back. It's been a while. We recorded 3 episodes last time, and our last guest, John Turbot, that was fun. Jake perked up a little bit. Jake was slouching for a while, but
it was our second recording.
Yeah, when it turned into true crime, Jake perked up a little bit.
Jumped in.
So we got to catch up and hear what's been going on in your world. So got through the holidays into the new year. Do you feel, in January, what's kind of your feeling going into January? Are you generally pretty optimistic? Like, we turn the page on the calendar. Do you feel, what's January like for you? I mean, just, do you feel?
Yeah. New year. Let's go.
Yeah.
Excited to get into, usually kind of done with, the staying in your pajamas all day in the holidays. So you've done that enough. Like let's go to work.
You kind of get cabin fever a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So do you guys have any, personally, do you have any new, it's not really New Year's resolutions, but like new initiatives, new things for you personally. Maybe it's, you as a leader, for church stuff or, Jeff, I'm thinking, you guys restarted VST and there's some new things coming. Just kind of.
Yeah. I'm excited. We're doing Old Testament survey, and I haven't taught just, Old Testament all by itself for a long time. And I'm really loving that, loving just even the prep to go into that. So we covered Genesis and Exodus. So Old Testament 1 covers mostly the narratives of the whole first chunk of the Old Testament. So anyway, I'm excited about that. It's a good group of people. They came in, it's almost like you're back in middle school or something where everybody's a little more nervous than they should be coming into day one. You know what I mean? You kind of loosen everybody up, but no, it's a great group of students and
cool.
Eager to do it.
Yeah, that's for those of you listening that don't know, Veritas School of Theology is a program that Jeff started years ago, and it kind of continues on, and just your heart for equipping the next generation. So it's always fun to see new batch of students coming in and doing that. So
there's a couple even from the Urbana church. I mean, Cedar Rapids always represents, but it's pretty fun to
That's neat.
The reach.
Now, are you back on track where they can complete their masters?
Yeah. Yep. Actually, that's why we're breaking some of these out. So they can do a core, just not quite half of the full master's degree in one block of courses that we do all together. And then now we're offering these individual courses that if you complete those, you can complete, by not ever having to go to campus or just do an online. It can be all in person right here. Yeah.
Cool. Anything for you, Jake?
We're jumping into our new book study. We started that next Sunday. We'll be in 1 John through June. So excited to do that.
Cool.
And I think 1 John is one of the most enigmatic books of the New Testament in the sense that you often, I remember when I first became a believer, that was the book that they took me through to secure me in my salvation and, but there are some really hard twists and turns.
It feels
read it
John
now.
Wants to give you a sense of assurance of your salvation, and he just doesn't do a very good job. It's like, hey, I'm writing to you because I want you to know that if you believe in Jesus, you have eternal life. But if you keep sinning,
dude, I'm telling you, I read it now, and I just feel like I don't know if I know what this means. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, and we give that classically to brand new Christians. So I'm eager to follow your sermon series
because there's a bunch of them. There's I heard at one point there's 7 salvation tests, the moral test, the doctrinal test, the obedience test. Are you? Well, you say you believe Jesus. Do you obey his commands?
Yeah.
You
love your brother.
Do you love your brother?
Yeah.
It's
yeah. No, he's faithful and just to forgive us. But
It is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the study.
That's awesome.
I think it's one of those examples, though. Man, I tried to figure out who first said it. I can't remember if it was Augustine or maybe Ambrose or something. That idea that the Bible is simultaneously, deep enough for an elephant to swim in, but shallow enough for a child to play in. You know what I mean? That idea that the Bible really can't, for that brand new Christian, Jeff, there was enough in 1 John that I could, man, this is life-giving. But a profoundness that now here I am at my age, still kind of having to take the deep dive. So anyway, I think it's a great example of that in the scriptures, so be a lot for everybody.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, believe it or not, I did have something I wanted to talk about.
Believe it.
I don't know if I do believe
today.
you.
Yeah. So
I
feel
you
like
come up with it on the car ride over.
Well, just don't worry about it. It's so the thing I think about this podcast is basically, I'm having all these problems, and you guys are kind of, this is like
maybe you
therapy.
should
Why don't you lay on the
therapy
couch
and getting your wisdom on stuff. But the thing I've been conflicted by is there's two things, and we'll see how far these go. One might be this podcast, one may be the next. We'll see how it goes. But I have this. It's connected to the whole paradox of the average pastor kind of motif, the average thing, the advantage of average, the idea that God, when God uses weak people, he gets all the glory. That's the whole thing, right? And so the trick is to stay weak, to stay low to the ground, to stay humble. It's humility, and it's, and in the presence of God, there's no amazing people. It's just God, and so here's the paradox of it, and where I feel it is as a leader. Let me go back. So there's been, in different pastor circles, conversations about how do you find staff, who do you hire, who do you, what, we're with these, especially in our context. So we're in these university towns. We have all these young men and women who are coming through university town, and we're sitting on this gold mine of next generation leaders, and the conversation of like, how do you know who to pull into ministry, who to encourage toward ministry. And it got me thinking about my own, I'm just going to call it, for lack of better way of saying it, my own like ministry testimony, how I got here, what was the first, how did God pull me in? And maybe you could say it's vocational ministry testimony, because everyone's, that's a Christian is in ministry. I'm talking about the vocational part of it, the it's my job type of thing. Like, how did you become a pastor, and how did I become a pastor? And so I'm just reflecting on my own, like, I don't think that I was the best and the brightest of all the people in my, you know what I mean? It's not like, and Jeff, maybe you can speak to it because you were there. You were the one who.
Or you want me to affirm that you were not the best and brightest? Deal. Jake wasn't even there, and he's confirmed.
Totally, I believe that.
Oh man, my whole life summary is, if God can use him, he can use anyone. And so when I hear talk about, we need to be looking out for the best and brightest to, because that kind of makes sense, right? Like pastor, that's such a big job. It's such an important role. And the most important, I mean, we want great leaders. But I don't ever feel like, I was the cream of the crop. I was the, on the A team. And of course God would, Jeff, of course you would have looked out and picked me, And so I'm just, okay. So here's how I want to frame it in. So I was talking to my son was doing a book report and he was doing Lord of the Rings and we were looking for quotes. I'm like, well, every chapter of my book starts with the Lord of the Rings quote. So here, let's just, go through some of those and maybe you can use some of those for your book report. And one of the quotes, I went back and reread the context of it. And I was like, this section, so I want to read it to you from the Fellowship of the Ring. And for those of you that might be listening and you're like, oh, great, they're talking about Lord of the Rings again. I am sorry, not sorry. It's like I think that even if you don't know the story at all, though, you'll be able to resonate with this. And this is how I feel about how I became a pastor. Like if someone said, Mark, how did you become a pastor? How did you become the pastor of Veritas Church? Even I'd be like, oh, I would read them this. So I feel like this is my story that I'm living in. And the context is like, they're sitting around with all these powerful, wizards and elves and great people. And there's these little hobbits, we all know the little hobbits, Frodo and Samwise and Pippin and Merry and these great people. And so they're trying to decide how they're going to destroy this ring that could destroy the world. They need to get rid of this ring, destroy it. Who's going to go on this mission to do it? So they're looking around and it says no one answered. The noon bell rang, still no one spoke. Frodo glanced at all the faces, but they were not turned to him. All the council sat with downcast eyes as if in deep thought. A great dread fell on him, as if he was awaiting the pronouncement of some doom that he had long foreseen and vainly hoped might after all never be spoken. An overwhelming longing to rest and remain at peace by Bilbo's side in Rivendell filled all his heart. At last, with an effort, he spoke and wondered to hear his own words, as if some other will was using his small voice. I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way. Elrond raised his eyes and looked at him, and Frodo felt his heart pierced by the sudden keenness of the glance. If I understand aright all that I have heard, he said, I think that this task is appointed for you, Frodo, and that if you do not find a way, no one will. This is the hour of the Shire folk when they arise from their quiet fields to shake the towers and councils of the great. Who of all the wise could have foreseen it? Or if they are wise, why should they expect to know it until the hour has struck? I'm like, it's like you're sitting around and I just imagine the Lord and his angels and who will go for us? Who will be the one to go, serve and bring the kingdom of God, and who will serve me. And it's just that almost like against his will, as if some other will was using his small voice. I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way. I'm just like, that's how I feel. That's it. It's like, what am I doing here? I don't know the way, but you just have this sense of like, God, I'll serve you.
And when he got that glance, what he was waiting for is, no, not you, Frodo. We're looking for the real candidate. You know what I mean? Like you get the idea that's why that piercing glance, because he's like, oh, that's what I was afraid of. I'd put myself forward and everybody else would vote me out, or whatever. And do you think though, even in that story, there's a sense where it's like almost some other will kind of took him. Right. Do you think in ministry we don't talk about calling enough? We just assess abilities and we don't assess a sense of calling.
Yeah. Can you speak to that? What is calling?
When people say we need the best and the brightest, I think to push back on that, the opposite is, well, you just want, the dumbest. And it's like, no, Like that's not we do look for something. You should look for something in this. Even, when Israel appointed a king, Saul was tall and physically impressive. It's like, that's what a king looks like. Mm-hmm. And God said, no, man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. It wasn't, we shouldn't have somebody tall. We need to have somebody small. He's like, no, it's what's going on in the inside. So I think, do we look for a sense of what's the internal things we're looking for? A sense of calling, humility, obedience to the word, teachability, a zeal and passion for God. So I'd say it's not, we don't want the best and the brightest. We're just not looking for what the world thinks is the best. So even the disciples of Christ, they were common, untrained men, but they were the ones that left everything to follow Christ.
Right.
So it's like Jesus was looking for something. Like you'll leave your nets and you'll come follow me. So it's like, we've talked before, like, are they humble? Are they hungry? Are they available? Are they... So I think you look for those things. What's going on internally? Do they have a sense of calling? Do they feel called to this work?
And don't you feel like that's really at the center of the example Jesus set for us? So much of the incarnation, yes, is that he would go and be the sacrifice, be the Lamb of God. But the reason he took so much time is because he was modeling what he wanted his kingdom to look like here on this earth. And I was just in John 7 this morning where they're offended at how common he is and less than common. Like, where's he from? Who are his parents? You think you have the right to be the Messiah? Like, they're offended by his commonness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which I think that's intentional, right? He that was to set a pace for all those that would follow Christ and be his disciples. That people would often be shocked, like, who are you? Where are you from? What makes you think?
That's a question of then why does God? It's not like we're respond to best and brightest with find the dumbest and smallest, but it's God often does pick common. I'm saying, and so there's something about the earthenware vessel thing that not many of you are wise, not many of you are of noble birth. Isn't there something about it that exposes the pride of the?
Yeah, and I think we need to be careful to not. God uses weaker because in our weakness he is strong. He's throughout Scripture he's chosen people to clearly show, no, it's God doing that. And there's also plenty of common dumb people that we were like, no, you should
not you.
Not
yeah.
So I think we should be more cautious if we're just drawn to external. If it's just about like, wow, you're really charismatic, you're really impressive. You have like everything the world would want in a leader. We shouldn't be so quick to mean like, well, then you should do it in the church.
Don't you think it's the combo then of appropriately sensing your own commonness? It's not false humility, like you genuinely understand, but faith, right? Like I was in Genesis 15 this morning too, and where, Abraham is just like, I know you've given me this promise and nation. I don't have a kid. And God says, here, come out of your tent a minute. I want to show you, and once again, the stars and, you'll have more descendants than this. And then that beautiful verse, Abraham believed God and it was counted to him for righteousness. Like he just understood his weakness and inability, but faith, right? Hebrews 11, that God rewards those who seek him. Yeah. So I just want, it's not just purely the weakness or the commonness, but it's that big plus sign, faith.
Yeah.
That you're really depending on God. And that's the secret sauce. That's the kind of the calling part is, oh yeah, against all odds, I believe that God could do something extraordinary and that he will get the glory. And
if we miss that, I think we fall into, and this could be the influence of kind of the secular business world on the church of like, there's a formula for church success.
Right.
You find talented people, you follow this strategy, you follow this plan, and it equals growth or whatever. You just kind of fall. And it seems a little bit like Gideon's army type of thing of like, oh yeah, you can win that victory, but you got too many soldiers and you're going to think you did it.
Yeah.
Because someone had, our staff were talking about, maybe they were talking to some other, church staff, and basically how their kind of strategy was, we were moving to a new strategy of like really pull in, only pull people on the staff who have multiple other like job offers for stuff. And they were asking me like, what do I think about that? Is that something we should do here? What would you say to that?
Well, I mean, I think the benefit of the doubt, I would say if nobody wants you, maybe there's something I should consider. Like, do they not want you because you're not responsible? You're not like, what's behind that? I think there is some validity to
you that. Want people that are disciplined, people that are productive, people that, faithful, show up.
Yeah. So in that sense, I can understand. If it's just kind of, the best and the brightest, I think we're working in a worldly equation and we forget, no, God uses common, untrained people.
Because we were talking about, here's my heart in this. I hope people listening to this podcast, I hope every person that listens to this podcast walks away like, I could do that. I could do that. What is that? I could serve. I could follow Christ. I could follow God. I can be a because
it's attainable. Like when Jesus said, you want to be great, be a servant. It wasn't an aspect of great's bad. It's just, we have a different scorecard here. And a lot of people think great is I'm going to be a ruler. I'm going to be in charge. And then, that takes a lot of skills to do that, but anybody can wash feet. And that's what Jesus is looking for. So it's like, you have that servant posture.
Yeah, totally.
And not everybody does. So there is things that we would look at people and be like, I don't think this is for you.
Yeah. And just genuinely, again, faith. Like, do you really, I feel like you can kind of sniff it or whatever. Like when you're talking to somebody that's aspiring into leadership, is it because they think so great of God that they believe that God could do something extraordinary through their ordinary means? Or do they really want to make a name for themselves? You know what I'm saying? So that faith thing of and it's a really intangible, it's hard to object, put it in a Q&A or something that you'd come up with it, but you can just get that sense like, no, there's a faith element. Like I was throwing all this stuff away from past and came across this thing where I still remember so back to the commonness. So I had done this 2-year kind of internship thing at UNI where I had come to know Christ after I graduated from college. Well, after I got done with that 2 years, I thought, oh, surely they're just going to ask me to be the full-time guy and just keep, I mean, dude, I'm the product of this ministry. I'm crushing it. And I'll still remember that crushing thing where the guy that had discipled me, led the ministry, was like, oh no, it's a 2-year thing. You're done. And I'm like, no, maybe for other people. You're looking into the eyes of the guy, and I mean, it just wasn't even a question. It was not an open door. I wasn't. And then the thought of striking out, going to Los Angeles, going to seminary, really, was terrifying. Like, I mean, our little blue Escort and my pregnant wife and one already in our arms. And I still remember kneeling. We had literally like a 2-room apartment we were living in, and kneeling by the bed. And is it Psalm? Grant just quoted it yesterday.
Psalm 28.
28, is it with?
Maybe.
I just happen to have a book right here. I could look that up. Because this moment where very terrified, underwhelming hobbit Yeah, I don't think it is Psalm 28.
Well, Olivia was.
Oh no,
Psalm 28.
I was thinking of Grant. With God, I can leap over a wall. With God, sorry, I don't have it on the top of my head. But and all of a sudden, it was that faith thing where all of a sudden, I remember the moment I was like, God, you could do this. You could take me and let me go to seminary. You could. Still, no money in the bank, weakness, getting shown the exit door from work, like nothing on.
That's encouraging. That's encouraging on a couple fronts. Like one, someone could be listening and been like, "Oh, that was me. I was passed over for maybe I didn't get a residency, or I didn't get an internship, or my residency ended and I didn't get the job, or or on our end of, sometimes we don't always." Like, I'm just picturing the guy that thought it was a good idea to say to Jeff Dodge, to, 22-year-old Jeff,
see ya.
We have nothing here for you.
Be warm and well fed. It's been great. But you led me to Christ.
And how, does that speak to calling too? Like you just, you kept pursuing it. Mm-hmm. And even though it took you out to California, and like you said, I had no money, and just God's miraculous provision really for you.
Mm-hmm. How do you assess maybe the nature of calling when somebody grows up in a ministry, they love that ministry and they want to work in that ministry, and that door gets closed and they don't do ministry? Mm-hmm. Like I can feel like, okay, that door got closed. I'm still called to do this. So I'm going to go find some place to do this. But I think in a lot of, it's like, no, I want to do that.
Right.
But if I can't do that, then I'll just go do something different.
You have this quote, Jay. I know you said, if I won't serve God.
If you're not willing to serve God anywhere, you shouldn't serve God anywhere.
So so
I'm not saying you can't have desires. I'd love to do this or feel called to a place, but I still feel that if a true sense of calling, like I'm a servant, so here I am, send me. Not here I am, I'm willing to go to this place, or this place.
But
it's an open-handed.
I would I think it was my friend Ed Noble was talking about how sometimes your sense of calling can be in a few different ways. Like some people might sense a calling to, I feel called to preach the Bible, and I will, like, anywhere that is. But my passion is preaching, and I'll do that anywhere. Some people might feel a passion to serve in a particular church. Like I would be the janitor here, or I'll be the lead pastor, but like this, my heart is here at this church. Or other people might feel it toward a city or a nation, or a nation, or a particular.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I just think the posture of calling or responding to a call should always be open-handed. Of I'm willing to do whatever, wherever. For King Jesus. Yeah.
So we were talking about in the conversation with some different guys about this. There somehow some ACT scores started getting thrown around, like different guys laughing about being,
common,
uneducated men. And so the ACT scores start coming in, and they started at like, oh, this is hilarious. It was like, we're like mid-20s, and then it got lower from there. And then mine was like the lowest. I'm like, man, I got 23 on my second try, man. I was like, and then there was, I told you that. Yeah.
And I was like 23. If I wasn't in that text thread, I could have made everybody feel good, but.
Can you tell your story? You don't have to tell your ACT score, but I thought it was
it seems like it's now a badge of honor, because if you're looking at the most common, the most uneducated, I got an 18. I got an 18, and you needed an 18 was the minimum to be eligible for an athletic scholarship. Like,
nailed it.
Yeah. Done. Check. And I was telling Mark,
and you didn't retake. You were like, Beautiful.
Not only did I not retake, so Northwestern came to recruit me in high school, and they're more of a academic school in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I remember the coach was like, Jake, we're really interested, but we'd like to see you take the test again. And I said, I'm not taking that test for anybody. And they left. Now it's the extent of my experience.
So what does that say about Arizona State?
That they'll take you. They are accepting.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice. 18, you're a scholar.
You're a scholar. I just remember
you could have been on the North Shore of Chicago.
No, I remember
I couldn't have been
in the test, and I know what tanked my ACT. I mean, my ADHD is so bad. I remember sitting in there, and for one, it feels like a hostage situation, you know. Doubt. And you're trying to fill out in your, the reading comprehension thing. I think I barely outscored the monkey that just fills in the dots.
Process, you got to take it early. So I took it early, but I remember on the test, I'm doing math class. Like, I haven't taken that math class yet. I'm still in like algebra 2. I don't know geometry stuff. I'm just filling in dots.
Yeah. So that's our story.
That's very common, untrained.
It's so but do you feel that, like what Frodo felt, that sense of, it's a paradox of putting your, like he almost against his will, he hears his voice saying, I'll take it.
But I don't know the way.
But I don't know the way.
That kind of willingness. I heard a guy give a talk on missions, and he had a phrase that said, put your yes on the table and let God put it on the map. If there's just like, okay, I'm in. And then maybe it's here, maybe it's there, but
maybe, I got to say it is faith. And maybe this is going to be even like a James thing, because it's also the works that accompany that faith in the same way that like when the Apostle Paul talks about being the least of these, then remember his next phrase is, therefore I worked harder than them all.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's not enough to be like, well, I'm average and I'm just going to stay at the back of the pack. No, I mean, it's the same thing. Like when I finally got out to LA and I really did know that I was the dumbest one in the room. That wasn't some weird false humility. I knew I brought less to the table than the other people who loved being in higher education and loved studying Hebrew and all that. You know what I mean? I literally knew I got to work harder than everybody. You know what I mean?
Do you think that, because that could be a concern when people are like, oh, we want the best and the brightest. There's a part of that. It's like, that's no, but the other side of it is, like Paul talks clearly about his work ethic. He toiled night and day, that he gave himself, he shared his life with them. I could be concerned with a younger generation that looks at ministry as hang out with my friends, take people out to eat, flexible hours. It's great. Right. It's like, if those are your reasons for going into ministry, that's not, and there's not, been trying to read more old dead guys, and I'm in the middle of Martin Bucer's the Concerning the Care of Souls. And just talking about the labor of being a shepherd, pursuing people, and like it's seen as, it is a job that does call for sacrifice and work. And oftentimes I think churches can be a place to hide and coast. My concern more is like looking at ministry as a vocation from young people. If they're seeing like, it's fun, it's flexible, that's, it is fun and it is those things are true, but that can't be the recruitment.
Oh no, absolutely. And in that way, the best and the brightest is if it means the most humble, the most faith, the most hardworking,
and
the
scrappy.
Most,
they're out doing what the Apostle Paul
totally,
did.
I'm all in on best and bright. If that's what you mean in kind of a kingdom way. And it was, I was thinking about this as you were talking about the hustle, the hard work, of being a pastor. Because if you're going to do ministry, you have to have a motor. You have to have an internal motivation, because you can't the more you have to manage people in ministry, I feel like the less they should be doing it, because it's hard to give people that passion and desire to do it. And so I think about it like someone once said, in baseball, someone who's in a slump, oftentimes, you can't control if you're in a hitting slump or not, but you never have to be in a hustle slump.
Yeah.
Like you can always run out first base, and you're, hitting a ground ball. And if you hustle the first, you might get on base just because of hustle. And sometimes if you're just put out that I'm going to, you're an all-star player, you should be hitting a home run. So you just kind of walk to first, like,
right.
Yeah,
in basketball, like sometimes your shots aren't falling, but you can always play defense every night.
Yeah. That type of effort and in it. And so, I think, what Jake, one thing that is so interesting to me, and this is how I also look at, you can start the ACT scores and laugh about it. But I think you are one of the more intelligent pastors that I know. Yeah. Like that to me is also, if we're just talking about the ridiculousness of a standardized test score equaling intelligence, and also that also only measures the intelligent quotient, not the emotional intelligence, all of that. But you're talking about this book you're reading, and you're one of the most hardworking sermon prep guys. You read way more than I do. That's a paradox for me
I forget where we were at. My mother-in-law was trying to tell somebody just the work God has done in my life is like amazing. And she was trying to like give a compliment, and
somewhere in there was a compliment.
And because she said like he reads books now. Like if you knew me before, I didn't read
Good
books.
Boy.
You did.
Good boy.
It wasn't that I do. It's like that I'm able to read. Like that was the work of God in my life.
He reads books. But I think what happened? No, I mean, speak to that.
Interest
from the guy who's like, I'm not retaking, like literally you're being recruited to Northwestern to play football. Like most people, all right, I'll take it again. I want to do this. You're saying I'm not taking it for anybody. From that to, I think you were reading books. When I went to ASU, it was, you just want to play football. I didn't go to class that often. I didn't, I remember we were stretching, for practice, and my position coach said, Jake, you're now a sociology major. I was like, okay. He's like, that's the only college I could get you into. I couldn't get into. I think I was doing like education. It wasn't like I was trying to be an engineer or something. I was like, but I didn't embrace school.
Apologies to all the sociologists listening right now.
No, they're like, I get it. I'm with you. But I think it was I wasn't interested. I didn't care. Then when I went to Moody, it was like, I want to learn this. So I think I'm still not like a fast reader or right. But it's like when you have a new hunger to learn something or know something. So it's like, what are you hungry for? Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's a big qualification for people in ministry is hunger? Yeah. Like what Jeff was saying, and you didn't just like, oh, I didn't get the job. Well, I guess I'll go just sell insurance. You're like, I'm going to California. That's hunger to me. There's some hunger for you. Yeah, you're after it. Yeah, you're that determination. How do you assess zeal in somebody? Yeah, right? I think that's a work of the Spirit in somebody's life. Of they show up, they're passionate, they're leaning in, they want this. Is there ever times where someone has a hunger for something and their persistence, and you're like, no, you really shouldn't do ministry?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And how do you those are hard conversations, right? Because you feel like you're the guy with the wet blanket for this other dude. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not an easy conversation, but some of it I do think has to do with the affirmation of just the human audience around that person. Like, is there just across the board a consensus that, no, dude, you want something that isn't in your future. Because even back to, I didn't get that job and everything else, but I had other people affirming and even, can we help you make it happen? Can we, fueling that. So I'm just saying, like, the human, don't like ignore the human audience, the jury around you that God has put to direct and lead you. And if there's no people saying you have a calling, I
think it's rare that it's just a clear, this isn't for you. In my experience, it's often you want something and there's a refusal to take the next step towards it. So somebody's really passionate about ministry. They're hungry. They show up all the time. They're leaning in. It's like, I think you should go to seminary. Oh no, I don't want to do no, I want to work here and I want to work here now. Or it's like, there's a lot of churches out there that I'm sure you could do ministry, but it's not, you don't want to go get educated for it. You don't want to move to a different expression of a church or ministry. So
we had a really cool, this last week, one of our elders texted us a picture. He went to Travis in Newman's first Sunday as a pastor of a church in Marshalltown, a Mosaic Church, and he texted our elder team, look at Travis and the guy up there on the stage is guy Caleb Applegate, and Caleb was he was in Salt when I was leading back in the mid to late 2000s, and I still remember this. Caleb was in my D group, and we were. He was back at the sound booth. Remember we had services back in the gym?
Yes, I do.
And Caleb was back there running sound, and he was about to graduate. And he was really thinking about vocational ministry. And I remember processing it with him, like, man, and it's like, should I go home to the family farm or should I do ministry vocationally? And so it was like, just walking with him through that and just seeing, like, man, I think, like, don't diminish the importance of the family farm and what God's calling in your life there. And so anyway, he went back to Marshalltown, Iowa and farmed. And so all these years later, it's maybe, is it 17 years later? He's up on stage.
Yeah. Like a core
welcoming. He preaches the word.
All right.
Like, he's filled in as an elder. He's and I remember he would call me every once in a while. Like, this is a few years ago, he'd call me, and we're always trying to find meat to feed the family. He's like, hey, we had a hog go down, it's had a broken leg. You want this? I'd come over, and we were in his shed, like, butchering this hog together. And he's like, well, this building, I could see a church in here someday. This is years ago. And his heart was he never lost the heart to serve Christ and what's God want to do. And I'm like, that's it. That is kind of the Hobbit way of just faithfulness. And now I see this picture of him, like, commissioning Travis to be the pastor of their church, and he's eldering there. I'm just like, what a cool moment of where, let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart, and then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. And somebody who, a couple decades ago wondered that, and just in faithfulness, and now he's, helped plant this church and is leading. They've got a heart to plant churches all around, and
so
awesome.
You guys are in a university town. You've been drawing university students into ministry for a long time. You as well. What are the things that you most look for when you think, I think they're going to do well in vocational ministry? Is there a trait or maybe what's something you see that's a yellow flag? Like, I don't.
Do you know what's cool now? So a lot of guys and gals is there's one thing that's cool right now in church world. I feel like there's more opportunities for people outside of just lead pastor, preach the Bible, do everything, kind of the pastor as the Like now it seems like on church staffs, there's a lot more opportunities just look around our staff team. There's probably almost as many women on staff as men. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, 50 years ago, was that true?
And among even the dudes, how many of them is it their primary thing to get up and teach the Bible? You know what I mean? Not
right.
Few are actually, that's their main.
Yeah.
So there are opportunities to serve.
Yeah. So one, to answer that question, like, what are you looking for? I think, seeing the gifts of, like, how is this person's gifts? How are they being expressed in ways that, because if I go back to, here's a thought. I'm going to make a statement. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Everyone in full-time vocational ministry needs to have, the difference between someone's in vocational ministry, someone's not, is that they have equipping gifts. So I get this from Ephesians, is it 3 or 4, where Paul's reflecting on his own testimony and call into ministry, where he says, I became a servant of this gospel by the gift of God's grace given to me through the working of his power. Like, I'm a Christian because God saved me. Mm-hmm. And then he says, although I am less than the least of all God's people, this grace was given to me to present to the Gentiles the unsearchable riches. Like, he thinks about his own, I'm less than all, but God gave me this grace. And then he says later, and I think it's the next chapter where he says, and it was he who gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, some to be pastors and teachers, to equip the saints for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up. So this passage is different than the Corinthians and the Peter and the Romans passage that talks about spiritual gifts, because this one is like, it was he who God gave the church these people to build it up. It's not like, oh yeah, in your church, there's a bunch of different gifted people, like some are prophets, some are pastors. Like, no, he gave these particular people to the church to equip them to, one translation is like, to prepare God's people for works of service. Like, and so that gift right there of what am I looking for? It's like, I'm looking for somebody who energizes other people with ministry. So when they do this thing, other people are just like drawn into it, and it's effective. Mm-hmm. It's when they preach the word. Why did this guy and not this guy? And it's not like you're evaluating like a speech. Mm-hmm. Did they give a good speech? It's like, no, when this person preaches, it's like the body is built up. They're encouraged. They're talking about it. They're applying it. There's some power on it. And not just with preaching, it could also be with, when they lead worship or, a gift of administration. Like, this person is really like building up the body in ways. I'm thinking of Shane Kelly, on our staff team. He just, like, ministry just happens around him. And it's not because they're the most charismatic, they're the most, it's not again, it's like God looks at the heart type of thing. So
when you were talking about energizing, I was drawn to, because that exact word, the Greek word that we get our word energy from, is in 1 Corinthians 12, where he talks about there are different gifts, but the same Spirit, different ministries, but the same Lord, and there are different, this translation says activities, but the word is to energize. Like, that is a very deep, profound spiritual gift. That's what you look for. Like you brought up, Shane Kelly is a great example. But he doesn't, energize people through the preaching of the Bible or whatever. But everywhere Shane is, other people are energized. He's conduit of energy, spiritual energy, to get after it and find their place in the church and to figure out their place in this whole body of Christ. And so I think that's one of the things you look for is this just a maverick guy that's just thinks well of himself or has aspirations or whatever, or is there just an energizing around him? Other people are stimulated and there's this kind of cloud of spiritual energy around this person because it's flowing
So when you
through him,
So I've seen this go the other way too, where it's like you have a great business leader. There was a guy in ministry. This is growing up, big time leader in the business community. Very successful guy, was brought out of the business world into the church, and it just destroyed the staff because it didn't translate. Like what made him great in the business world did the opposite of energizing in the church.
Yeah,
it just
saps instead of.
it just killed the staff, the culture, and that's where, that you talked about that earlier. The idea of let's find the most famous person, the most, the most successful, the thing the world looks at, the person who's leading the big time company, and let's bring them in here to teach us how to.
We've talked about it before, but it's in your world. I'm just gonna throw Danny Doherty out there. I just remember even in our connection group when he was still down here in Iowa City, just not because he was trying to be a headliner, he just energized everybody else in the room. There were every other guy, they'd all be, but then I was talking to Danny, and he wasn't trying to be a big deal. He wasn't clamoring for attention, quick to defer, but something supernatural was going around in that guy all the time, that other people were energized toward Christ. That's the stuff you're looking for. I don't think Danny ever once was like, put me in. It was just, you're watching this little cloud of energy, that other people are more important than himself, and he's pushing other people forward. And
a servant.
Truly
playing drums or playing whatever he can do to,
We probably should stop talking about him, because then it'll just ruin it. He'll get a big head and think he actually.
We'll keep it.
Let's delete this.
Cedar
I don't know if he even listens to this, so maybe we don't have to worry.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on just, you asked the question, what are you looking for? Like, what are you looking for? How do you assess that when you're looking for?
I would agree with, do you see the Spirit's work in their life? Do you see an effectiveness of not necessarily a talent expression, but an effectiveness? When they talk, people listen. When they lead out, people follow. I value like-mindedness in just kind of doctrinal alignment, life, missional alignment. But you just want to look at is this person teachable?
Mm-hmm.
Like they want to learn, and do they have a hunger? Are they a hard worker? Those kind of just, the things that anybody would look to say, like, all right, you have the building or the foundation to build something on.
Mm-hmm. I feel a necessity to, I threw Danny Doherty out there, but another person that immediately feel like the Lord brought to mind on our team is Alyssa Borwick. So we do, you probably do these evaluations a couple times a year of all the staff. And one of the questions is, who would you commend as somebody that you really look up to on the staff? Hands down, the one that got the most shout outs was Alyssa Borwick. And it's because of that same thing that we're talking about. This other people are more equipped, more prepared, more energized to do their work because her presence of constantly, and it's true with our volunteers. She kind of pulls together and equips a lot of the volunteer work. And they all just feel so strong and prepared and
listen
grateful.
To this.
And,
did you hear what Alyssa did for me? So I've got like 30 years of sermon notes that are stuffed in here and there and file cabinets and whatever. And then my Google Drive is a mess. Like, I don't know, there might be here, there might be there. She spent, I don't know how long, if it was a year or how long it was. She took all of that and organized it.
That's a task. Yeah. So Caroline did that for me, getting in the same files.
Oh,
but it was like you had I had some in Evernote and some in Good Notes and some in Google Doc. It was just like, I know I preached that. I don't know where the notes are for it or anything.
Tracking that down.
Your guys are kind of haunting me with a moment of regret because I just took literally all my notes all the way from seminary days, whether it's seminary notes, all my sermons, everything, and threw them all away. Everything. And so now I'm like, or I could have had something.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'm not saying that accusatorily.
It wasn't very, no. Yeah. It wasn't really profound. I just realized I keep saving these. I've got these, divided up in this file folder. And I'm like, wait, when was the last time I actually re-preached any of these? Or rarely. I'm talking about once or twice a year. I would I did preach it, and I'd go digging, find it, and maybe have a moment of nostalgia, but it didn't really find its way into
a moment of embarrassment.
I
said that.
Oh, good for you. That was a swing and a miss.
Do you feel like you did your kids a favor? Like what are they going to do with this when I'm gone?
Totally.
Like, there's going to be one kid that's going to feel like they can't throw this away. Yes, so let me do this for them.
You're welcome, James. Audrey will not have to feel bad.
How do you feel about this, or how would Audrey feel? Because I feel like these are like relics that oh man, those treasures of, could you imagine Levin digging through these in 30 years and finding Grandpa Jeff's sermon from
handwritten.
I don't know what Audrey would say about it. She is a little bit more sentimental.
Very
all
much.
of our kids have a special box that she puts things in, and I'm glad she does that. I'm glad we have it. But I mean, I think there maybe is something to just the magnitude of what that is that could be overwhelming. But as a kid receiving that, but
honestly, I intentionally threw them in the bin on the day or like the next morning that it would be hauled off, so that I didn't have that run out and I just thought, just do it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. You know what I mean? I was like, don't even give Audrey.
Here's actually what Audrey will do. She'll be like, Dad, he like just that.
Yep.
I can see it. He just got it in his head. He's just like, I'm doing it.
Totally. That is so.
And
but no, I don't feel profound regret or relief, anything. It was more like, come on, you don't need it. And then you read back of people who, kept every letter, whether it's a founding father or a Jim Elliot, whatever, not only sermon note, Spurgeon's sermons, all handwritten, kept, and preserved into so it's not like I think that's a bad idea, but
were you just deciding at that point, I'm pretty sure I'm not Spurgeon. Or John Adams, like
there's an Elizabeth Elliot out there somewhere that's gonna find these. And
I have all those scrolls that I roll up and keep.
Oh yeah,
and then it's like, so we taught through Genesis and the whole scrolls all rolled up there, and I had a lot of those, and I got rid of a bunch, and because you unroll the scroll and you look at it, I do so much notes in shorthand. It's like I don't know if I know what I meant by that.
Well, alone anybody else
in the midst of studying it.
So you sermon prep on a scroll, like you literally have two. You just scroll like
ancient. I found a scroll of paper on like a kids crafts store thing because I would have a lot of different pages of notes, and I was always shuffling. So I wanted it all on one big.
So when that's done, you just roll it. Wait, you roll that sermon up, or you keep it on the big scroll, and all of Genesis is on one scroll?
And then I do all my notes on one, and I tear off the paper.
Okay.
And I roll that up, and then
that's a sermon.
I roll. Yeah. And then when you do the whole book, you got a bunch of papers rolled up that.
Yeah. I saw that in your shed, that setup. And I just thought, I've never seen that before. And when you say you have notes on scrolls, I'm just imagining candlelight, a feather pen. You're in like a robe or something.
Actually, like kid markers and a kid craft. It's more my speed.
You put it in a clay pot after it's done.
It's like meat locker paper.
Yeah. Someday archaeologists will find this.
Yeah. I shop on a kids craft website for my sermon.
Came from a Hobby Lobby.
when he was at Candeo, Paul brought a few guys
Paul
down.
Sabino?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, show us how you do sermon stuff. And so I just walked. And then I heard somebody talking before, like, yeah, you do the scroll method. I'm like, scroll method? I mean, I just write on a big piece of paper. And got labeled some kind of.
Oh, it's a method? It's got a name?
Yeah. It's like, you do the scroll method. I'm like,
This is a whole. Jake just invented. See, this is Jake's whole life. He's inventing these whole new ways of doing things, and
it's on parchment paper with an ink pen, and it's candlelight.
Yeah, it sounds so mystical almost. Like, wow, he does it on a scroll.
No, this is from Kids Craft. It's in crayon.
It's that. What about Bob line? You're like, he's so brilliant. Even he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. Like, you just keep inventing these things.
Oh man,
You're just it just comes so naturally.
Okay. Here's how I think a good way to land this is beginning our descent is, what's your encouragement? I'm just thinking of some different people in different stages of their life. Maybe first of all, think of a young person that's maybe like high school, college, maybe early years, and they're thinking about this topic, and they're wondering vocational ministry. They're thinking about, man, do I consider vocational ministry? Is that something I should pursue? They're having that moment of Frodo, kind of in a circle and feeling like, I would like to do that. And they're trying to wrestle through, should I do this? Should I do business and finish out this degree? Should I go into the seminary? Like, what's your encouragement to that person who might be listening that is in the wrestling stage, the maybe the 20-year-old version of yourself?
I mean, just because I reflect on my own story when I was at that point. I mean, the reason I wanted to go out to Los Angeles to go to seminary, I mean, the analogy I had in my mind, I remember vividly, was, man, I know that God has made me to be a carpenter, but I feel like all I've got is like a hammer, a saw, and a screwdriver. And if I had more tools, if I could just have more at I think I could do better, Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, if you really want to serve Christ, one of the things you have to do, you have to get to know the Bible better. You have to be taught the Bible. So that doesn't necessarily mean formal, get a master's degree. If that's available, if you've got somebody that can do it in a formal way, do that. But I'm just saying, you got to do hard work. Your gifting alone, because the only thing we have to bring to the table, whether you're a preacher or not, we're to channel the Bible, channel God's word. You know what I mean? And so do the hard work foundationally at a young age, figure out how to deepen your understanding of the Bible.
And amen to that. Delete your social media and master the Bible, memorize it.
Yeah.
Find a passage, write it down. Just
hold guys together.
Because the stuff you remember, the stuff you just the way even your brain works too, the stuff you do when you're younger sticks with you for a lot longer.
I found one of the other things, I didn't throw this away. When I pulled a bunch of you guys onto the back porch and the leaders are readers thing, and it would be a chapter out of J.I. Packer, and then the next week it'd be a chapter out of Narnia, but then another chapter out of Spurgeon. So I'm just saying, figure it out. Find some other people that are going to be accountable and go deeper. Just figure out how to know your Bible better. Anyway,
I would certainly echo that. Like, you know your Bible, like, give time to educate yourself in that. I think I would also encourage people to get a more old school view of ministry that's a lot less sexy. I think if what's drawing us in is, I got to be up front in a room and everybody's talking to me, I want to be that guy, or I got to lead staffs, and we got to work on brand. There's a certain expression of the American church that's kind of compelling for different reasons. So read The Reformed Pastor by Richard Baxter, Concerning the Care of Souls by Bootser,
or even J. Oswald Sanders.
Yeah.
Just some of those books, that are just spiritual leadership, right? And spiritual leadership,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To get a more basic understanding of the call of a pastor, I would say go minister in some less appealing contexts.
Mm-hmm.
You want a place to teach a lot, go try to lead a Bible study in a nursing home. Like, go care for people and find the less sexy expressions of ministry and understand a calling to God's word and people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're still drawn to that, then
it's a little bit of the, aim at faithfulness and serving Christ, get success thrown in, aim at success and get neither.
Yeah.
Just what you're shooting for is just, I want to love people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to care for people. And that aspect of it is of, loving God, knowing his word, a zeal for him, and then loving the people.
Yeah.
And not just the,
right. 'Cause I think the way church is often set up, and this is needed. I'm not trying to completely undermine it, but it can be very appealing to the entrepreneur. And missions, starting new work, you got to be somewhat of a pioneer. So that's there. But I think it can draw kind of a entrepreneurial mindset more than just a shepherd call. Because even if you start your own church in 5 years, it's not new anymore. Now you're a shepherd.
Totally.
Right? And that's what you got to do for the next 40 years. So that entrepreneur thing, that was 5 years of your 40-year ministry. So really get to know and want the shepherding aspect of the job.
Man. What do you think, Mark? What's your contribution to that formula?
Is of, what was the question?
Remember, it was your question.
What's my encouragement to that person?
That was beautiful.
What's my encouragement to that young person is, I would say, just let love and faithfulness never leave you. Just bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. What you're looking for is not favor with people. What you're looking for is not, I'm going to go. You fight with all your heart that impulse to be a celebrity. Fight that need to matter. Fight that need to walk into a room and say, "Oh, he's in here." Is just that is the way of the world. Is to look for. You look at the turtle up on the post and say, "Wow, I want to be him someday or her someday." No, just stay where God. Keep plodding along, loving him. Most of the most important things that we do as pastors, no one ever sees because it's the time in prayer. It's the time loving God, reading the word. It's the time, and those are the things that shape greatness in God's eyes. Man looks at the outward appearance. God looks at the heart. So just love God with your heart. So this is a perfect segue to the next episode that we'll talk about. Just another pastoral tension that I feel, and I'll get your guys' counseling for next time. But we need a benediction over this. We need a good word. So Jeff, what's a good word to close our time together?
Actually, we started talking about 1 John because that's what Jake's going to be going through, and so that's the place to go for a benediction because I do love. We talked about the depth of it and some of the mysterious parts, but I just love this word from 1 John 5. And this is the testimony. God has given us eternal life, and this life is in his Son. The one who has the Son has life. The one who does not have the Son of God does not have life. And I've written these things to you who believe in the name of the Son of God so that you may know that you have eternal life. The security of a God who loves us and sent his Son for us so that we can have life.
That's good news.
It's good news.
Yeah. Well, thanks you guys for joining us. If you're still listening, thanks for being on the journey and being a part of the conversation, and look forward to next time. So have a great week, and we'll see you next time.